Should New Zealand become a state of Australia forum? Netizen 1. Yes please. We'd be way better off, even if we did end up as a bit of a red-headed stepchild. Treaty would be a pain to sort though. All it really says is that Maori cede sovereignty and we all have the same rights and responsibilities. So it shouldn't be a problem, but it will because it has been intentionally misinterpreted. Netizen 2. The heart says no, as we're proud Kiwis, but the head would have to say yes, as we would be far better off. The economic benefits of acceding to a federated Commonwealth of Australia and New Zealand are already compelling, and ultimately will be overwhelming. The tens of thousands of Kiwis who move to Australia each year are testimony to that. Netizen 3. Yes, we should. They don't muck around with things like tax administration, they understand what a credible retirement scheme is and they have a far more sustainable approach to funding a country by not ruling out digging things up to sell in order to fund things. Netizen 4. One way to get a higher NZ representation would be that both the main New Zealand islands became separate states within the Australasian Commonwealth. Then we would have a significant Senate representation to argue our combined approach, as well as a higher representation in the lower House of Representatives. Financially we would be significantly better off, with a much improved health system, a much better military system, although aligned more to the American system, a significantly better input into the G20, and potentially the G7, would the combined financial totals put us into this grouping. Netizen 5. Australia has more public service wastage than we do. Every state has their own administration, from governors to health systems to driver licensing agencies. The only things each state has in common is the color of their passport and who's leading the country. It will be a bureaucratical nightmare to merge with them. There's no downside for us. Netizen 6. I think we should split the South Island from the North. The North Island can be renamed Aotearoa, and the South Island can become part of Australia. New Zealanders shall have the choice as to which part of NZ they want to live in. Once decide, then we cut the cable. Netizen 7. Would never fly. We can desire to join Aussie all we want, but tell the average Aussie on the street that 1/6 of their House of Reps is about to be taken over by bloody Kiwis and you better be good at dodging the flying jandal, or thong, as it were. Netizen 8. It's actually not that big a leap. Australian states/territories are already largely autonomous, they compete against each other, finance themselves and have most of their own agencies including health, education, and law and order. We would share currency and passports but would retain our own state parliament. It's not a crazy idea, a lot of duplication but we can fund it by digging holes in their desert. Netizen 9. Who really cares, but what's in it for us Kiwis? Much higher salaries, higher taxation, better superannuation savings schemes. Superannuation means tested, better education, better health systems, more opportunities, cheaper airfares to other states, more competition in supermarkets, and building supplies so cheaper goods. Positives possibly outweigh the negatives. Netizen 10. Most of the benefits mentioned by people are federally managed in AUS, so we would move to their system, rather than them to ours. We would get their diabolical GST system. Federal and state taxes plus local council stuff. Stamp duty. Aussie super and minimum wages would cripple many NZ employers. Paying market rates would cripple the rest of them. We would also lose some business here, as the cost savings would no longer be there for the Aussie paren. So yes, there are some real benefits, but the negatives are still substantial. As for them, they will keep us at arm's length. Netizen 11. What's in it for Australia? For one, it would make for easier business dealings as currency transfers will not need to be international. Most of our banks are already owned by Aussies anyway, so why have the international barrier? Aussies do have investments/interests in NZ, it's not just the other way around. Netizen 12. Based on the comments above, we're generally buggered. Everyone's given up, we might as well be tucked under Australia's wing like a chick under a chook. We made this mess, it's no one's responsibility but our own to clean it up. We don't lack resources or wits, but maybe we lack the will. It seems we all got a shade fond of the idea that a government would look after us all. We've just given up on our government being the one to do it. Netizen 13. As we are totally unable to run the country with even a modicum of sense, whichever political party is in power. I suspect that it is inevitable. Probably better to do it sooner on the best negotiated terms possible, rather than hold off until we totally collapse economically, morally, and socially and have to accept whatever is offered. What are the other choices? Snuggle up to China, allow the other Pacific small nations in the hope that the USA and Australia flood us with largesse. Or offer us very favorable terms for a union. Become a state of the USA. Yuck. Don't laugh, Alaska, Hawaii, at one stage they owned the Philippines. There are times when I would like to subcontract our government services to the Australians, particularly the Commerce Commission. There are other points to consider. State governments have upper and lower houses as do federal governments. North and South Island as separate states.